3D laser scanning is a reality capture tool that can achieve measurement accuracy of 2 to 4 millimeters and is used to supply engineers, architects, surveyors, and contractors with highly accurate data documenting as-is conditions. Since its inception in 2011, TruePoint has provided scanning and modeling services on hundreds of projects. In this video, we will explore the methods of determining the cost of your next project. There are a lot of factors to consider when determining the cost of a project. Since we have nationwide service available, location is one aspect to consider. The type of facility involved in the project can also affect the cost of a project. At TruePoint, we have the ability to scan many different kinds of facilities, from warehouses and refineries to churches or office space. Complexity, line of sight, and sizes all play a major role in determining the number of scans needed for the job. The type of facility and what needs to be captured in the scan impacts the scanning technique used to determine the on-site time and therefore the cost of scanning. For example, an empty 100,000 square foot warehouse could take fewer scans than a 5,000 square foot mechanical room, or office building that has furniture in it, or a construction site with a lot of equipment to scan around. The reason for this is because of line of sight considerations. Our technology requires line of sight, so if there are a lot of obstructions, it will take more scans to complete. So you can ask yourself, are there large open spaces, or are there smaller but more obstructed views in what I need scanned? Be sure to think about how many obstructions, both horizontally and vertically, there are in the space. Are there a lot of pipes running in different directions? That could require more scans. Other questions to ask include, are there tight spaces that will be difficult to access? Are there large objects, such as equipment or HVAC systems, that will block large areas of the scanner's field of view? All of those aforementioned considerations impact where we place targets and help us determine how many scans we will need. Also important when determining cost is the size and complexity of a space. For example, what is the square footage of the space that needs to be scanned? Before we scan, we need to know how many floors, including the basement, rooftops, and mezzanines, we'll be working with. We also need to know whether the space is occupied and, as mentioned earlier, whether there is any equipment, inventory, furniture, or other obstacles in the way. Additionally, if it's an active site, are there and will there be lots of people around? Are there trucks that we might have to work around? Furthermore, we need to know how congested the space is. Are there lots of pipes? Finally, when looking at the type of facility, we also need to know if it is an interior or exterior project, or both. In other words, is the project inside or outside? All of these aspects can affect the scanning and therefore are important to know when determining the cost of your project. Target objects are also factors to consider in determining the cost of a project. Target objects include pipes, conduits, walls, MEP, columns, beams, and steel, just to name a few. Related to this is the level of detail that you as the client need. The level of detail can determine the number of scans needed, and this can vary significantly. For example, to scan only the structural dimensions, walls, ceilings, floors, etc., of a room, will require fewer scans than if all electrical conduits need to be captured. Therefore, it's important to know if you need all piping detailed or if pipes above a certain diameter, for instance 2 inches or greater, would suffice. In determining the cost of a project, when we talk about goals, we are referring to three main things. First, your end goals. In other words, what are you trying to accomplish with the data from the scan? What are you trying to get from it? The second is what software you want to use for viewing and manipulating the data. This is related to both your first goal, what it is that you wanted to get from the scan, and the last one, what deliverables do you need? Asked another way, what are your goals from the deliverables? For instance, do you just need the point cloud data, or do you want something more, such as 2D drawings, a 3D model, or a comprehensive analysis? Finally, when determining the cost of a project, scheduling is another crucial factor to consider. This depends on what your needs are as the client. Questions that our technicians will ask include, what will the scanning schedule be? Will we need to scan at night or on the weekends? Additionally, are there any safety training or security clearance requirements that will affect how quickly we can start scanning? Along those same lines, we need to know what your timeline is so we can work to meet your specific needs and deadlines. For example, is the project happening tomorrow or is it going to occur next month? And how much time do we have to complete the scanning and any deliverables? As you can see, determining the cost of your project is not as simple as one might think. There are a lot of factors to consider. It's not a one-size-fits-all kind of process. We hope this video has given you a better understanding of how the cost of your project is determined. Please contact us at TruePointLaserScanning.com to review case studies or request more information.